Open heart, open mind. Welcome to the Sattva channel. Hello everyone. Once again, a warm welcome to the Sattva channel. So today we are going to have a very interesting meditation session, guided meditation session by Myon An Sunim. And myself Samiksha Meshram. I am from the Sattva Youth, which is an official online platform of the Sattva channel.
I'm Sharab Wong, the co-founder of the Self-Help Project. Welcome, everybody.
So before begin with our meditation session, first of all, on behalf of the Sattva project, I would like to express my gratitude towards our streamer sponsors and media partners, Durian Asian and Durian FM, for supporting our this program. Okay, and also our broadcast director, Brother Ray, for handling all the technical issues in the background.
Hello
Brother
everyone,
Ray.
welcome to today's session. Please like and share this with more people, and if you're watching this later on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, like and share the video. Now back to you guys.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Brother Ray. Okay. So tonight, we are going to have a guided Zen meditation by Myon An Sunim, which is entitled as "No Mud, No Lotus." Sitting quietly at home, spreading love and kindness all around the globe. So first of all, we are going to have a short talk, and then we will have short meditation session, and then we will have question and answer session, and then we will conclude this evening session with small dedication prayer.
So now let me introduce to you about who is Myon An Sunim, Tito Pusa. Myon An Sunim is a Zen monk from the Kuan Yin School of Zen. He is also advisor of our Sabra project. Myon An Sunim, usually called Sunim, was born to a Chinese family in Malaysia in 1959. He received his education in the UK, culminating with an MBA and work in finance. Myon An Sunim began his meditation practice in 1992 after meeting his teacher Zen Master Songsan in Hong Kong. He was ordained as a monk in 1997 and spent the next 16 years in Korea doing intensive meditation retreats. He received INCA, the authorization to teach Kongans and leads retreats from two Zen masters in 2015. Sunni has over 30,000 hours of meditation experience, teaches mindfulness and Zen in Penang and internationally. His teaching approach combines the wisdom of the ancient teachers with the science of meditation to reach at ways of practice that are well suited to our contemporary lifestyle. So welcome, Myon An Sunim.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and thank you for the kind introduction. Shall we begin? So tonight, actually, I want to begin with a short meditation first, because if I talk too much first, you'll be thinking all about it during meditation time, which is perhaps not as helpful. So tonight, very simple kind of meditation, Zen style meditation, which is really paying attention to our breath, placing our awareness in our breath. So just in your mind, try to let go of any expectations, any kind of ideas of how meditation should be or should not be, and just allow yourself to sink into the experience, to allow the meditation experience just to be there in the moment. So you're going to encounter probably a lot of thoughts, some pleasant, some unpleasant, and that's okay. So every time you encounter something that pulls you away from being aware of your breath, just gently let it go. You can say to yourself, oh, it's okay. It's okay. And then come back to your breath. Try not to judge yourself or have any expectations. So let's begin. Give it a go. Sit in a upright, alert posture. You can also lie down if you need to. Close your eyes. Take a few breaths and allow yourself to settle and relax into the meditation. Letting any kind of tension or stress flow out from the body. As you breathe, try to bring your awareness to where you notice your breath the most. It may be at your belly or your chest, back of your throat, or your nostrils. Wherever you feel your breath most strongly, just bring your awareness to that area and rest there. Let your awareness rest there. So that when you breathe in, you're aware of the physical sensations of breathing in. Perhaps at the nostrils, you're aware of the gentle movement of the air in and out. And just keep following that. No need to try to control your breath. Allow yourself to breathe naturally. And just be aware of the breathing. And it's as simple as that. Then when your mind gets distracted, you get caught up in thoughts which may cause emotions. See if you can gently let that go when you notice it. And gently bring yourself back to feeling for your breath again. So noticing that your mind is distracted is also part of meditation practice. It is the key part. Noticing that you're distracted. That's when you wake up. So keep coming back to your breath as often as you need to. If your thoughts become too overwhelming, you can always use a mental note to yourself, reminding yourself it's okay, and let them be, and gently guide yourself back to feeling your breath again. Not engaging with our thoughts, they will disappear and fade away by themselves. And once you're aware of your breath, you're anchored to the present moment. You're here, right now. Just keep coming back to your breath without judgment, without expectations. taking your time, start to open your eyes and reorient yourself to the room again. And thank you for your practice. Go ahead and stretch if you feel you would like to. Just relax. Okay. So now we're going to have a discussion about no mud, no lotus, the topic of our talk tonight. So if you have any questions, and I hope you do, please type them into the comment section of wherever you happen to be watching this, and it'll get picked up. And please do ask. Feel free to ask questions, any kind of questions, about your practice, your life, your problems, any kind of question. It doesn't have to be related to the topic tonight. So mud and lotus are often very frequently used metaphors for Buddhist practice, in the sense that the lotus, which is a beautiful flower, can only grow in mud. So this is a metaphor for the samsara of our world. So let's look at the Buddha before he became the Buddha. He was Prince Gautama, and he had a very privileged life. And then one day he encountered an old man, sick man, and a dead man for the first time. This gave him a wake-up call. And he realized that, one day I'm going to be like them as I grow old and sick, and then I will die. And then experience the similar kind of suffering that they may be experiencing. So his father, the king, knew this, so he wanted to shield his son from all of this reality of life. So he created a kind of paradise for him within the palace walls and didn't allow him to go out of it. But still, he managed to sneak out, and he encountered the messiness of life. And then that caused him to question what his life was all about, what the truth of life is about. And then he left his good situation. He left the palace. He left his his title, his position. He left, the possibility of being king in future. He left all that and went to practice, to search for teachers and practice. And eventually, after many years of hard practice, he eventually woke up. So during all his time of practice, he also encountered some suffering. He did very, very arduous practice. Like sometimes it is said that he ate 1 grain of rice a day, and he was so thin he almost died, because if you looked at it he said from the front, he could see he was so thin that he could make out his spine, his backbone from the front, because he was so emaciated. So he did all this hard practice, and one day, putting himself through some physical suffering, and woke up. So we have this saying in Buddhism: suffering is the mother of all Buddhas. So meaning that this suffering, which we also say it's like the mud that we live in, the lotus needs the mud to grow. So say, for example, if you have a good situation in life, you have a good place to stay, have money, food, privilege, and a good position in society, you usually won't question your life. You think, yeah, that's how it should be. And if somebody says to you, hey, this might all disappear one day, and you better start practicing meditation. You think, oh, forget it. I have such a good situation. I'm like, basically, it's like being in heaven, where you don't need for anything, and everything you want, you can get. So then why put yourself through make the effort to put yourself through the difficulties or the challenges of meditation? Because already you think, I've got everything. So Zen Master Sung San, my teacher, used to say this: a good situation is a bad situation, because it's very easy to kind of fall asleep in life. I don't mean that you just fall asleep, but you kind of have things so good that you don't really have to worry about anything. And you kind of go through life like that until something happens which you cannot deal with. Some big, maybe illness, or some accident, or something happens to your business or your family, and then suddenly all this suffering will appear that you were never prepared for, because you thought your life was just perfect, and that's how it should be and will forever and ever be like that. So, but if you have a very difficult situation in your life and that makes you suffer, then you very obviously you want to get out of it, because nobody likes pain and suffering. So you look for ways to get out. And some people will look for a spiritual path to find out why. Why am I having all these difficulties in my life? Why do I have no money? Or why do I have such a difficult situation? Then some people, not all, some people will look for a spiritual path, and some people will turn to meditation, look inside themselves, and find a good teacher, find a correct teaching, make the effort to practice, and then find a path out of their suffering. So countless people have done this and have managed to do this in the past. So having a bad situation is a good situation, because it helps you wake up to the reality of your situation, and then you try and get out of it through practice. So very interesting kind of opposite words, as we could say, conflicting words. A good situation is a bad situation. A bad situation is a good situation when it comes to spiritual practice. So if you kind of even think back, like some of the great Zen masters in history, like the sixth patriarch, Huineng, he had an awful situation. His father was disgraced, and then they shipped him, and then father died, and he ended up living somewhere in southern China, I think Guangzhou, and he couldn't read, couldn't write, no education at all, and he had to support his mother by going up the mountain, collecting firewood, and then selling it in the market. Now, if you've ever done that before, like we've done that at our Korean temple, where we needed to burn firewood. Not anymore now, not good for carbon emissions. But it's hard work. Even if you have to drag some branches or logs, we can't carry them. It's too heavy. So we have to tie strong rope around it and then drag it down the mountain. So it's physically very hard, and you don't get a lot of money for it. But he had to support his mother like that. But one day, he heard somebody chanting the Diamond Sutra and heard this phrase, don't attach to anything that appears in your mind. And then, boom, the story goes, he got enlightenment. And he became the sixth patriarch, the most famous Zen master in China and perhaps the whole world. So a bad situation is a good situation when it comes to practice. A good situation is a bad situation. So if you find yourself in a difficult, challenging position, and I'm sure many of us are experiencing that right now with the coronavirus pandemic. In Malaysia, we're getting the Omicron wave. Maybe you're worrying about perhaps the possibility of conflict in Europe, or you may be worrying about different things, how to survive economically nowadays, because that's also very difficult. Then that is a very good situation for you to practice, because it starts to wake you up to look at your own life and see what it's all about. Okay. And if you manage to wake up, then you will be able to reduce the level of your suffering. Okay. Regardless of whatever situation you're in. So, I have a Dharma brother. He's a layperson who works as a social worker in New York City. So when he was studying for this degree, they sent him out on assignments and internships. So one of these internships that he had was to go and take care of people who were very sick and dying and help to comfort them through their last days and just be with them, you know. So he said something, his experience, he said his experience was very interesting, and this is what happened. So he had to go and visit a variety of people who were very rich, who lived in the nicest parts of New York, like Madison Avenue, whatever, Manhattan, and those who lived in like very poor areas, like the I don't know, I'm not sure of New York so well, but anyway, he had to visit these kind of different kinds of people. So he said when he visited like these rich people who lived in very, very beautiful houses and had servants and everything like that, when they were coming to the end of their life, or they're having illness, they were really suffering. They were really, really, really unhappy and couldn't deal with it. And the reason he felt was this: when you're rich, you have a lot of money, and with that comes a certain amount of power and social position. Then basically, you can control your situation. Whatever you want, you can basically have. Like, you don't even have to do a lot of your own stuff, you know. You can have servants, maids, cook for you, clean for you, wash your clothes, iron your clothes, and some people even have people choosing their wardrobe for them. So you control everything in your life, however you like it to be. And then you go through life like that. You never encounter a situation that you cannot control, basically. But then when you get sick and you encounter, you know, serious illness, then doesn't matter how much money you have, how much power you have, you can't control the pain, you can't control the discomfort, you can't control the fear of suffering and perhaps the possibility that you will die. So that you cannot control. Suddenly everything is not controlled, and sometimes if you're so sick, you cannot control even going to the toilet by yourself or even feeding yourself. Somebody has to do that for you. So from a point where you can control everything to a point where you can control nothing is just a huge fall. Then that's why a lot of these rich, powerful people find it very, very hard to cope with, because they've never encountered that this never faced that situation themselves. You know, they were never in the mud. They're always kind of like living in like a heavenly existence. Then he said his assignments took him also to the poorest neighborhoods where black people lived. And then he found, even though some of these black people were poor and sick and didn't have much, you know, they had enough just to get by day to day. They didn't experience so much suffering. They were kind of more accepting of whatever life threw at them, whether it's good or bad. And they are kind of able to more ride the wave of their challenges. So he said, wow, that was really interesting, you know. These rich people really have a hard time facing their illnesses, but the poor people really were more kind of, okay, that's my life. That's how it is for me. I'm sick right now, and I'll just deal with it as it is. You know, so he said what that was a real kind of insight for him to see how even two people with the same illness, but one from a rich background or privileged background, and one from an unprivileged or underprivileged background, dealt with it very, very differently. Same situation, but different mindset. So what that teaches us is that the external situation may be one thing, but how we respond to it is very much up to us. So with practice, we can learn how to respond more wisely to the challenges that face us. You know, rather than trying to control every situation, to try to control every situation, to make it fit what we want, we can more attune to the reality of the situation, to be able to actually harmonize with what we have. You know, we've had many great teachers who've encountered illnesses. Most recently, Thich Nhat Hanh, he died a few weeks ago, and he suffered from a stroke since 2014, which left him paralyzed and unable to really speak very much. But he wasn't, you know, saying, I'm suffering. He wasn't expressing unhappiness. He was just able to be with his illness, however it was. So whatever happens to us, we can't control. But what we can control is the mind that we bring to it, how we respond to challenging situations. So even maybe your life may be very good right now, and you're free from suffering, you're free from discomfort. But we all know that at some point in our life, we will encounter discomfort and suffering, no matter how good our lives are. So if we start to practice now, practice meditation, practice really understanding the nature of our existence, then we'll be able to gain insights into our human nature. And then when difficulties come, challenges come, we will be able to face them more resiliently. You know, we don't have to be thrown about so much. So that's the kind of key thing for practice. You know, we have to live like it is said that you can only attain enlightenment with the human body. You know, in the upper realms, you can't, because you have such a good situation, like in heaven or above, that you don't even think about practicing. And if you're in the lower realms, you're having so much suffering they can't even think about practicing. So it's only in the human realm. I'm talking about the 6 realms of existence here. That we can attain our true nature. So we have a great opportunity. In fact, challenges and difficulties have been with us all along. It's like conflict is not new. It's always been there. But we do have the longest period of relative peace in our history since 1948, the end of the Second World War. So let's use this opportunity to really kind of build our resilience, to find out, to attain who we are, so that whatever comes in future, we are much, much better able to take care of it. So within this mud of our samsaric situation, we'll be able to grow a lotus. So, okay, I think that's all I want to say for tonight. And thank you very much for listening. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Sunim, for a very enlightening talk and meditation guidance. I think, Ray, we have some questions from the audience, right? At the comment there. Yeah, Sunim, there's one question asking about Master Ting An Ha, as you mentioned before. Master Ting An Ha, the father of mindfulness, just passed away recently. So what's the best way we should do, or what we should do to remember his kindness?
Yeah, that's whenever any great master passes away, there is very, very important teaching for all of us. Even the Buddha, when he died, okay, is that life is impermanent. It's short. Actually, it's pretty short. I think Thich Nhat Hanh lived to his 90s, 95, is it right?
Yeah,
Can't remember exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. But even that is not very long. Okay. Just think of how old you are right now. Where have all those years gone? So that's the important thing. One of the important reminders that when anybody, not just a great master, goes, we have to realize that our life is not that long and it's not guaranteed. Okay? It's not guaranteed. Nobody guarantees our life. So all the teachers practice mindfulness, meditation, so that they could be present in this world and also wake up from our kind of delusions about this world. That's what Thich Nhat Hanh taught, being mindful in every moment, sitting, standing, walking, lying down. And that's also the teachings of all the eminent teachers and the Buddhas, just teaching us that life only happens in this moment. It doesn't happen in the past, and it doesn't happen in the future. So if we remember that, then we can start to honor the legacies of all the great teachers that have gone before us, and take lesson from that. So the fact that nobody guarantees our life is also something that we can see. Like when the Buddha was, he died because he got sick. He said that he ate some poison, not poisoned food, but food that had gone off and caused a kind of toxic reaction in his body. It wasn't intentional, which is what I'm trying to say. That he ate some bad food, and as a result of that, he died. Some other teachers have got illnesses, cancer, for example, and also died from that. Some naturally from old age, but nobody guarantees that your life will be perfect and free from all any kinds of illnesses. But what you can guarantee if you practice is how you respond to it. Okay, like we talked about in the previous example, this rich people and poor people, you know, you can actually either accept it and then practice along with it and live your life as fully as you can with whatever you're getting, or you can just try and give yourself a lot of suffering and fight it, even though it's not going to work. So I think to honor the teaching is to actually just practice, continue your practice, and help other beings, not just human beings, but all other beings in the spirit of bodhicitta. And that will honor the teachings of not just Thich Nhat Hanh, Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, but all the teachers that have gone before us. Okay?
Thank you, Sunim. What a
Sure.
wonderful answer. Okay, another one from the Bill. Mindfulness has become an increasingly popular topic among business leaders, with several key executives speaking publicly in recent years about how it helps them improve the bottom line. So, but is mindfulness being corrupted by business and finance? Since Sunim, before you become a monk, you were working in finance. I think this is a very suitable question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, yeah, I mean, any kind of positive thing can, or any kind of thing can be used in a good way, a positive way, or in a negative way. Let's take, for example, the atomic fission. Okay, you can make an atomic bomb, blow it up, and kill a lot of people, millions of people, like what happened in Japan, Nagasaki, and Hiroshima. Or you can use it to create energy, and that benefits a lot of people. So things in themselves are neither good or bad. It's how we make it. Okay. So mindfulness in itself is not good or bad. It's learning to pay attention to what is happening right now in the moment. So if you use that to gain insights into your mind, your habits, and then use that to reduce your attachments to your ideas and opinions and so forth, and then reduce the amount of your stress, suffering, then good. But also you can use it in a way that you make people work harder or whatever. Then maybe that's not so good, you know. But I think overall, once you start to see your mind functioning as it is, you know, maybe you first you'll see that wow, it's a real mess in there. You know, before when I remember when I was working, one one a man who was practicing said, "Ah, it's so wonderful to practice meditation because one day you may be able to read somebody's mind." And I said to him, "I don't want to do that." And he said, "Why?" He said, "Have you seen my mind? How messed up it is? Why would I want to read somebody else's messed up mind? You know, that would be even worse." So the thing is, get to understand what's going on in your head, and that's part of the practice of mindfulness. You know, all our thoughts are fleeting; they will come and go, boom. But when we attach to them, then we have a problem. Okay, especially during meditation. You know, thoughts come. We are more aware of the thoughts during meditation, and then suddenly, I don't like this thought. Then we try to, why is this thought appearing? You know, or why am I feeling this way? And then we go into this whole complicated web of other thoughts, and then you know, we're caught up, we're not meditating anymore. But if we practice, then we begin to be able to experience the fact that thoughts just come and go. They're not permanent. They are mental events which appear and disappear, just like clouds in the sky. But they do it faster than that. So once you're aware of that, you realize, well, okay, thoughts are not me, number one. They are not you, for sure. We think they are. We have a very, very strong identification with whatever appears in our mind. That's normal. But in meditation practice, we learn not to identify so strongly with our thoughts. And secondly, they are just mental events. They will come and go by themselves if we allow them to. So, yeah, I mean, any kind of mindfulness can be used for good or bad. But I think overall, if a company does provide some form of mindfulness training for its employees, at least the research shows that stress levels go down. Uh, they get along better with their co-workers. They are more creative. They're more attentive at work, which is actually positive. It doesn't create negative things. So if the company makes a bit more money, hopefully you have a good boss and they'll give you a bigger bonus at the end of the year.
So it is okay to increase like something like a mindful productivity, mindful creativity, and mindful efficiency.
I think it's good to have mindfulness.
Okay.
Okay. How you use the mindfulness for, I don't know. But in most situations I've seen, they just basically, like, for
Mm.
example, I was giving talks at Intel,
Mm.
and they're using mindfulness to help their employees cope with stressful situations, which is good. I never had that at work, and I had stressful situations until I learned meditation from Zen practice. But anything that helps you, I think, is helpful. You just have to be careful how it is used. But if you learn the principles of mindfulness, you can decide for yourself, how you want to apply it. And yeah, sure, of course, it can be kind of used in a slightly negative way. But if you are mindful, you can also hopefully uh, avoid being dragged down that particular path.
But would that make mindfulness more secular rather than spiritual? Is that okay to make it like secular meditation kind of thing?
Meditation is not spiritual.
Mm.
It's about paying attention to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't depend on having a spiritual faith. That's what I'm saying. Uh, the reason it is because of tradition. But actually, it is really all about learning to pay attention or to be aware in the moment, to be mindful in the moment. And what does that depend on? Spirituality. I mean, spiritual tradition is basically a training for the mind. And then that will lead to some understanding of who you are. I mean, when the Buddha was alive, there wasn't anything called Buddhism. It's only after he died. Okay. But when he was alive, people were going to him with questions about their problems. That's why we call it the expedient teachings. They would ask him, "Oh, I've got this problem, that problem," and then he would give them the correct teaching that suited their level of knowledge and level of ability, and then help take away their suffering that way. That's what he did. And then he gave a lot of talks on how helping people meditate and helping people understand the nature of reality. Right?
Thank you, Sunim. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Samisha, do you have any question?
Uh,
Okay. No question is okay.
Bishop, do you have any question? No?
can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. We can hear you, Samisha. Yep. Samisha, we can hear you. I think it's frozen. Hello, Samisha. We can hear you. We can hear you, Samisha.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
No, I don't have any question.
Okay, sure. Well, okay. Okay, now we can announce the next event. Yeah, Samisha.
Okay, so on 20th February, we have a guided meditation session by Venerable Tenzin Dasel, which is entitled as Being the Lotus, a meditation practice to honor the kindness of Master Thich Nhat Hanh. Good topic.
It's going
Any
to be
other?
next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Venerable Sunim, you can conclude this session by this dedication prayer.
Okay, so I recite the four great vows. Sentient beings are numberless, we vow to save them all. Delusions are endless, we vow to cut through them all. The teachings are infinite, we vow to learn them all. The Buddha way is inconceivable, we vow to attain it. So may all beings be well, happy, and safe. So wishing all good health and take care, be safe.
Thank you, Suni, for your guidance and teaching today.
Sure,
Until we
thank
see
you.
again, good night, everybody. Be well and happy and be safe. Bye bye.
Good night.
Good night.